Thank you for joining us for the Barbados Today afternoon news for Thursday, December 14. I am Mary Claire Williams. The head of Crime Stoppers is making a case for metal detectors at schools. The call comes from Oral Reid on the heels of recent incidents of violence at some of the island's education institutions. In the latest case, one student at the Ellerslie School lost a finger and suffered several chop wounds when he was attacked by another student last month. Education Minister Ronald Jones has stated that the level of violence in schools does not call for such drastic action, and he believes that metal detectors would solve nothing. But Reid says the situation has now reached worrying levels.
It is absolutely important, especially at this juncture when we appear to be embracing technology in assisting persons who are assigned to fixed locations, that every effort be used to engage that technology. Obviously, we are not advocating the use of devices which are not aesthetically pleasing at the entrance to schools. But I'm sure that many of us are familiar with walking into stores, and we have been doing that for quite some time. If you come into the library at Capefield campus, there's a detector that reminds you when you're leaving with a book that has not been processed. And that has been there from the 1990s. So this is nothing new. These devices are at entrances on Broad Street, on Swan Street, at institutions in Barbados. All we are saying is that if you have an environment where you care about the people who occupy the space, whether those persons are members of staff or if those persons are students, 1,000 students, every effort ought to be made to ensure, A, that you have an adequate number of security persons at your entrance, and that whatever technology can be engaged to assist with the safety of those persons.
Meanwhile, Crime Stoppers says members of the public are not too keen to collect rewards after providing information on criminal activity. Sherry Holder of Crime Stoppers explained at a news conference this morning that there is a process for reporting crime which is confidential.
Because you would have to call the tip center. You're given an identification number where you can check on your tip to see if any success has been made on this information you passed on. And then and only then would they say yes, no, and at that time, the information again is relayed to the police force with a number, no name, and then it will be taken from there in terms of how the process will be allayed in terms of distribution of the monies.
In other news, a St. Michael woman has been remanded after failing to meet bail when she appeared in court on drugs charges yesterday. Patricia Meldonia Weeks of Goodland Main Road went to the airport on Monday to clear household items. And while examining the items, customs personnel at the Seawell Air Services cargo bond discovered 8 black wrapped packages containing cannabis concealed in the panel of a stove. A further check revealed 20 similar packages concealed in a Whirlpool dryer. Weeks fled the bond and the matter was reported to the police. She was subsequently arrested and charged with possession of cannabis, possession with intent to supply, trafficking and importation of cannabis. Weeks appeared before Magistrate Lorianne Smith-Bovell in the District B Magistrates Court yesterday. She was granted $80,000 bail but was unable to secure a surety at the time, so she was remanded to prison. More than a year after it was slapped with an 82% increase in import duties, Burger King is still seeking to get the tax reversed. In a direct message to Commerce Minister Donville Innes last night, Chairman of Burger King Barbados, Ralph Busy Williams, asked that the company get some reprieve from the prohibitive tax. It was at the beginning of September last year that the duties of some of the company's processed chicken products rose from 20 to 102%. And at the end of November, the general manager, Ryan Walters, had told Barbados Today that while the company has been absorbing the cost, it could no longer afford to do so. And in reply, Innes said he wants to see a shift in operations of local businesses. At the same time, he said he is disappointed that government is still using protectionist measures by imposing high import duties.
There's regional and international news after this short break. Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. And the government of the Bahamas is taking further steps to avoid being labeled as a tax haven. Prime Minister Hubert Minnis made the announcement in Parliament yesterday. We get the details from ZNS Network News in Nassau.
Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Hubert Minnis told the House the Bahamas has mitigated future inclusion on an international economic blacklist by agreeing to sign on to a multilateral convention.
We faced blacklisted if we failed to give a definitive indication of our commitment to apply for membership to the Multilateral Convention for Automatic Exchange of Tax Information. My government gave the requested commitment and indicated our desire to join the Multilateral Convention before the end of June 2017. We immediately commenced taking the steps required to secure the necessary invitation from the OECD.
Blacklisting by the OECD essentially means the country is not cooperating internationally in the fight against tax evasion, money laundering, or terrorism funding. The ministerial task force that led the agreement included the Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Peter Turnquest, Minister of Financial Services, the Honourable Brent Simonet, and the Attorney General, Senator the Honourable Carl Bethel. The Prime Minister says this move is to keep the country from being blacklisted in the future.
There remains much to be done to mitigate other pending threats to the financial services. Following receipt of a letter November 7, 2017, forwarded to the government from the BEPS Code and Conduct Group advising that the country had been given a reprieve from blacklisting by the European Union until February 2018.
And finally, Disney is buying a huge stake of 21st Century Fox in a deal that promises to reshape the media industry. We get more in this report from Reuters.
Walt Disney's deal to buy movie, TV, and international businesses from Rupert Murdoch's 21st Century Fox will end more than half a century of expansion by the 86-year-old media mogul and will make Disney a powerhouse with reach across the globe. Reuters media correspondent Jessica Tunkel.
This has huge impact on every media company because you have Disney, which is the world's largest entertainment company, all of a sudden now having international breadth through the acquisition of these Fox assets. So a lot of people are focusing on what's going on in the U.S. with the film studios. You know, they're buying a film studio, they're buying a TV studio, and they're buying sports. But internationally, they're also buying at least this 39% stake in Sky, but our sources tell us that Disney will be buying all of Sky ultimately. So that gives them distribution in Europe, it gives them over-the-top online streaming, and also Star India. India is the fastest growing market for media today, and Star is the fastest growing TV network by far. And they have an online streaming service called Hotstar. Netflix is starting to get into India. I believe Amazon is starting to get into India. This gives Disney a huge edge over those competitors right now.
Under the deal, Disney will gain access to 46 million subscribers in 3 major markets, and Tunkel says the move could drive rivals into big deals as well.
That's news this afternoon. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Good afternoon.